Hello everybody, my name is Queenness and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to those of you who are new. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than our usual travel vlog because I do a lot of those. Today's going to be a what I eat in a day video. However, it's going to be 100% plant-based and gluten-free. So we're gonna start off with my morning smoothie. My morning smoothie, usually I like to get some acai. I buy some frozen acai from Gibson's. It comes individually packed and it's unsweetened. And then I usually either put some ground flax seeds or some chia seeds in there. And then I put some bananas. I also like to freeze my bananas usually before putting them in there, but today I didn't have any frozen bananas. Well, I didn't have much frozen bananas, so I used what I had. I also like to add some Irish moss. For those of you who don't know what Irish moss, which is also called sea moss, your body is comprised of 102 minerals, and Irish moss / sea moss has about 92 of those minerals. So as you can see, it's very beneficial to your body, so I do try to include that in my diet as much as I can, and the easiest way that I found so far is putting it in my morning smoothies every day. What I usually do to prepare my Irish moss is I like to wash it thoroughly because sometimes there's quite a bit of salt on it. It depends where you buy it from and if it's been washed or not, but either way you should always wash it, rinse it. I like to soak it in some water. Sometimes I soak it overnight, sometimes I don't, just really depends on how much time I have on my hands. And then I like to rinse it off, and then I pour some hot boiling water on top and I just let it cool down. It makes it a little bit softer and easier to blend in the blender so you don't find those hard pieces in there. And then I just throw it all in the blender, you know, with the chia seeds, the Irish moss, the frozen acai, bananas, throw it all in the blender, and voila, that is my breakfast smoothie. Now before I have my breakfast smoothie, usually I like to have a green juice. I usually order green juices from, I like to use Gibson's. They've got a pack of 6, and I get like the 2 different kinds of green juice. One is more fruity and one is more leafy, I guess you could say. And that's how I kind of like keep my vegetable intake a little bit higher than usual for the day, because I like many others don't have the time to eat as much vegetables and fruits as we should. So having a green juice in the morning, or any type of cold pressed, fresh pressed vegetable or fruit smoothie or juice really can help you get your veggies in more efficiently in a day. Now I'm going to show you how to make my breakfast. I guess I can call it my second breakfast. I usually like to do like a warm type of cereal. Lately I've been using amaranth, which is gluten-free and also full of a bunch of minerals. You guys should really look it up. Full of vitamins and minerals. If you haven't ever tasted it, I definitely suggest that you start including that in your diet, because it's not inflammatory like gluten is, and it has way more minerals than a bunch of other cereals that you're probably already eating. So firstly, I need to wash my amaranth. So I like to wash it, I strain it, and then I just add a bunch of water to it. Now it depends what consistency you like it. I'm gonna show you what consistency I like it and how much I boil mine. Okay, so here I've got some organic amaranth. As you can see, there's a lot of good stuff back there. It's written in German. I got that in Germany. I've got some maple syrup here. And then as you can see, I've got some cashew milk, but today I ended up using almond milk. This is an older clip from another day. Those are the blueberries, and this is some cinnamon. And now I'm putting a cup of amaranth in there, brought that to a boil, and boom, I'm putting it in the bowl and adding some cashew butter in there. And then I'm just adding the almond milk at the end with a little bit of vanilla essence in there. Pure, no synthetic flavors in here. Throwing a little bit more almond milk in here to loosen it up because I did boil it quite a lot and it got quite thick. That's the cool thing. You can add some milk and bam, there you have it. I threw the blueberries on there, bananas and walnuts. Yum, that is so delicious, and don't forget to add your maple syrup. All right, now let's get to my lunch. Today for lunch, what I'm gonna be eating is fajitas. I'm gonna make 3 plant-based fajitas made from a quinoa tortilla, which I make myself, and I'm gonna show you how to make that as well. And what I'm gonna use is some portobello mushrooms, some multicolored capsicum, yellow, red, orange, green. I am going to use also, you know, some onions, some garlic, and I'm gonna obviously need the oil to prepare the tortillas. Quinoa is a gluten-free grain, and it has I think most of the essential amino acids that one needs, so it is super healthy for you, and it is also gluten-free. I recently learned how to make these tortillas on YouTube. If I find the channel that I start from, I will link it down below. It's basically just quinoa flour, which you can actually use quinoa, the white grain, and you can put it in your blender, blend it, and make a flour out of it. You just add some water, and then I like to add a little bit of oil to that. Okay, so now we're gonna get ready to make our vegan gluten-free fajitas. So what you're gonna need for this is some onions. I like to use red diced onions. Nobody likes chopping onions. 2 cloves of garlic and different color capsicum or peppers, whatever you call them. And you're gonna need portobello mushrooms. I'm gonna use 2, so I'm gonna meal prep for tomorrow with that. It just depends how much you're making. That will determine how much you need. I'm gonna add some liquid smoke, which I have in here. Here's the bottle, I ordered it online. I'm also gonna add some smoked paprika, which I have in this container. I'm gonna add some chili with habanero sauce. It's smoked, it gives it a little smoked flavor. I'm gonna add some chili powder. I'm gonna add some umami for flavor. I'm going to add some salt and some black pepper. So now I'm gonna add the liquid smoke. I'm gonna add some black pepper. I'm gonna add some salt and the rest of the spices in there. Really, some hot sauce. Paprika. I forgot to mention I'm gonna add some oil, avocado oil. Now, I like to make my own fajita breads with quinoa flour, but you can feel free to use any type of tortillas that you want. I'd like to make my own tortillas because it's gluten-free and I feel like it's more healthy, and I am extra, obviously. So to make your own quinoa tortillas, you will need quinoa flour here, or you can just use your regular white grain quinoa and you just put it in a blender and it becomes flour. You're gonna need some water, and you can put some oil in it to help it not stick. I've done it with and without oil. I think it works better with oil. I don't have the correct measurements for this. However, you'll see me. I want to make three tortillas, so I'll use like 3 spoons. 2 and 3 for that. And then the water, add the water in little by little, whisk it to see the consistency. I want it to be the consistency of like if you're making crepes. All my French people, you know what that looks like. So yeah, that looks about right. I might want to add just a little bit more water to it, just a tad. Here we go. And I'm gonna add the oil. Just whisk it up a little bit. There we go. You can see that consistency. It's kind of like very liquidy, but not watery, just liquidy. And this might be enough to make 3, maybe even 2. I don't mind. So for this part, you're gonna need a non-stick pan. You're gonna wanna heat your pot up on a medium heat. I'm just making sure there's no water in it. You don't want to put the stove too high or else the tortillas will stick to the bottom of the pan. And that is a no-no. Today I'm using a non-stick spray with avocado oil inside. Okay, so I've just poured the batter into the pan, and that's the size I like to make it. I poured a little bit in the center, and then I kind of just shook it around like this. to even out the sides and make it a little bit larger. So now the stove is on medium heat, and I am going to just wait till the sides start lifting before I turn it. Well, the center is lifting now. Woohoo! Anyways, as long as it doesn't stick, I'm good. If you keep the heat low, it shouldn't stick to the bottom of the pan too much. Okay, so the top is dry now. It's looking like it's ready. The sides are lifting a little bit, so I hope it doesn't stick. If it's sticky, I'm gonna let it cook a little bit longer. It's still a little bit sticky, so I'm gonna let it cook a little bit longer. Quinoa takes quite some time to cook, like to boil. Initially, it takes about like 20 minutes to boil, so that's why the fajitas take a little bit of time to actually cook through. So you gotta just be patient and give them time. Or you can just avoid all this drama and use your own fajitas. I'm just being extra. I've put more oil in there, scratched off the bottom a little bit of whatever was sticky. I'm gonna pour that in there. Spread that around. Now I'm going to use the same pot that I used to make the tortillas to make the fajitas. The fajita mixture is already marinated now, so I'm just going to add a little bit of avocado oil. And I'm going to throw the mixture in there. I actually forgot to put the onions in the mix, so I'm just going to add them now. So for me, like, I like to just kind of warm everything up. I don't like to fully cook the peppers and stuff like that. But you can continue cooking it as you wish. But I'm gonna stop right here. So I'm turning the stove off. Alright, so I've plated the fajitas. I've added some diced tomatoes and some avocados. That's just what I like on mine, but you can put whatever you want on yours. And I've made this sauce that I like to add at the end. I made this sauce with avocado, cilantro, onions, lemon juice, and oil. And I just put that all in the blender and blended it all up, and it made this nice little green cilantro sauce. So that's the fajitas. Okay, so here's the last dish of the day. It's going to be a vegetable stir fry. So for this, what I like to use is some broccoli. I think this is broccolini actually. Tomatoes, some baby corn, garlic, 2 cloves or more. I like to use a lot more. I might actually add more than 2 cloves. Here I have some spinach, and here I have some bok choy. And then for the seasonings, I like to use some sesame oil for flavoring. I've got a half of a vegetable stock cube, which I'm gonna add a little bit of warm water to it so it can dissolve prior to putting it in the pan. And then I've got some salt here, and I've got some black pepper. I've got these lovely chili flakes that I got in Bangkok, and I've got some lemon juice. I prefer to use a fresh lemon. Use a fresh lemon if you have. However, today I don't have any, so I'm using this fake ass juice from Concentrate. But it's gonna do the job for today. One more thing, I forgot the onions. You're definitely gonna wanna put some onions as well as garlic in here. Then you're gonna wanna get to the pot. I've put some avocado oil in here already. So just gonna warm that up. And then once that's warm, I don't know why, but this is when I add the sesame seed oil in there. It's a different color, but it gives it a really nice flavoring. And it's very aromatic. I've chopped the bok choy into smaller pieces, like 3 different sections. I've chopped the spinach as well as the baby corn, and I'm gonna chop the tomatoes, and I'm just gonna throw everything inside. Now I'm gonna add lemon juice. If you're using a lemon, you could probably use like half of a lemon. I think that would be like equal to the amount of juice that I usually add to mine. And it gives it like a salty flavor, so you can use a little bit less salt. So that's kind of why I like it. Just make sure that vegetable stock is heated. When you know, you're gonna know it's heated because the sauce at the bottom of the pan is gonna get a little bit thicker. So this is the finished dish here. I actually ended up chopping the broccoli later on because it was really thick stalks and really long. So I just took it out, chopped it up, and put it back in there. Sometimes I add noodles to this. Sometimes I just have it with a side of quinoa. But like I said, since I've had carbs for breakfast and it's quite late now, I chose not to have any carbs in my dinner, just vegetables. And I usually like to have this with a little bit of coconut water. And I usually like to add some avocado on the side. So that's what I'm gonna do today. All right guys, well that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed those 4 recipes that I've given you today. If you have any suggestions or any ideas for future videos, please leave them down in the comments below. And if you try the recipes, let me know how they turn out for you. The fajitas tend to break up a little bit, but they're still super, super tasty. And as I said, you can feel free to use any fajita that you want that is gluten-free. Or if you want to use a regular flour tortilla, that's fine as well, it's still vegan. And that is it. Don't forget to push the like button and subscribe to my channel for more so you get a notification. You can also click the notification bell for that. And thanks for being here today, I really appreciate it. See you guys soon. Bye.